and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be doing a quick rundown of the books I have read during the month of May. So I'm going to look at my phone and look at my Goodreads account because that will remind me of the books that I've read. Okay, so if you've been following on with any of these book reviews I've been doing on a monthly basis, you will know that my goal for this year is to read 50 books, that's 5, but 50, 50 books this year, and I thought I was doing really well until the month of April, when I struggled to read more than, I think it was 3 books I only read in April, and then in May I was like, I'm going to read 5 books, we're going to get through this, and I only read 3 books. Did I read 3 books? Yes, I only read 3 books. I don't know what's going on with me, it's driving me mad, because even now we are on the 10th of June? 12th of June, and I haven't even read 1 book by the 12th of June. I've been awful. I've been awful. So in total, just I'm going to start now, in total I have read 18 books out of 50. It's still doable, obviously, to read 50 books by the end of this year because we're halfway through. I should have read 25 books by now, so I've got to read 7 books to catch up, but yeah, I've got to get reading. I don't know what's wrong with me. I feel like I'm just like stuck. Even though I'm desperate to read, I'm just not picking up a book. I'm too busy just doing everything else that maybe sometimes things do need to get done. Maybe things I'm just procrastinating and I'm just not reading. So yeah, but anyway, let me just go through with you the 3 books I read in the month of May. 2 books are parenting books and 1 book isn't a parenting book. And 1 book I read, I think I read it in like the space of 2 days because it was intense. Last month I read The Housemaid, which was incredible. I read it within a day. Highly recommend. And I'm going to now start looking at Frida McFadden, the author of Housemaid. I'm going to start looking at more of her books because I hear amazing things about her. The Housemaid is phenomenal. I spoke about it in my previous video. I'll link it down below if you're interested. I gave it 5 stars because it's just, oh my goodness, it was great. So yeah, I'm gonna start looking at her books because if all her books are the same, might get me going again. Because I don't know what's wrong with me. I've got a million books on my Kindle and a million books on my bookshelf I really want to read. Just can't sit down and do it. I don't know. Anyway, the 3 books I have read this month are, now don't unsubscribe and don't click off when I say this first book, okay, please. Buddhism for Mothers, a calm approach to caring for yourself and your children. By the way, just as well, I've gave all the books I read last month 5 stars. So that's the first book I read this month. The second book I read this month is probably the most important book I've read all year, parenting wise. It's called Raising Anti-Racist Children. An incredible book, I'll talk about that more in a minute. And the third book I read last month, which is the only fiction I read, is Tender is the Flesh. Again, I gave it 5 stars. I'll talk more about that in a minute. So the first book I read, Buddhism for Mothers, this book, so basically this all stemmed from, I don't know what the correct phobia name is, but I have a really strong phobia, intense phobia of dying, death, you know, the unknown. So for example, and what comes under that umbrella for me is the eternity. The thought of eternity just gives me, if I think about it too much, it makes me like really emotional, makes me like, I can't comprehend it. You know, the human brain can't comprehend eternity. I can't, it messes with my brain too much. When I think about the universe and space is not for me. This is a picture of space. Each dot is a different galaxy. And within that galaxy is this, and this is here, and the sun is this tiny little dot here. And so it makes me feel really insignificant, and I cannot cope with that. And so therefore that comes under the umbrella for me of like death. I just hate it so much. So anyway, with that, I was just like, what's the best way for me to help overcome my fear of death? And I think what I've been thinking is like to see, so I'm not a religious person, I think that helps be scared of death. And I'm not looking to start joining a religion. I'm not interested in religion in that way. My brain doesn't really, no, not for me. So with that being said, I'm looking at Buddhism, but I'm looking at it more in the spiritual way and energy and so on and so forth. And so I thought, well, let me see what this Buddhism for Mothers is about, because that might help me, I don't know, experience things differently and think about things differently and help me, you know, does that make sense? So far, I've read the entire book, I listened to the book, and I actually have bought the book, but the author, Sarah Naphtali has written 3 books, and so I bought the complete collection. I bought all 3. So one is Buddhism for mothers, Buddhism for mothers with young children, and Buddhism for mothers with school-age children. And obviously my son will be starting school in September, so it's perfect. And I've got an 11-month-old, she's a young child, so it's perfect. I haven't read them yet though. But what I really enjoy about this book is one takeaway from this book, which I am trying to practice, not so easy when you have little people around, is to meditate every day. Meditation is like what they say is the best thing to do. It's good for all aspects of your life. At the minute, my meditation is, I can do it. I do have time in the day to do it. I find it easier to put on them instead of sitting quietly in a quiet room. And if I can't do that, then I will put on a YouTube video of like daily affirmation. So while I'm getting ready in the morning, I'll just have that playing in the background. And so it's not necessarily meditation, but it's it's like subliminal positive things going into the brain instead of like listening to a like true crime podcast or music, which is great. Music is great, but sometimes obviously I think positive affirmations are perhaps better for you, especially if you're listening to them on a regular basis. So that's what I've taken away. That's my big takeaway from the book. A lot of the book does also touch on like gentle parenting methods, and yeah, so I do really recommend it. I really enjoyed listening to it. Let's move on to the second book, because I've talked about that one a lot. Raising Anti-Racist Children, A Practical Parenting Guide by Britt Hawthorne. This book is a 10 out of 10. Cannot, as a white person, I cannot recommend this book enough. Honestly, it's made me so aware of my surroundings and who my children interact with, who I interact with, how I speak about people. You know, like I would say I'm very much anti-racist, but obviously as a white person, just things in life, just you are naturally sort of, I don't know what the right word is, but like you naturally would do things that are racist without realizing they're racist. So it's become really like, it's tuned my brain, and yes, and it's just making me more aware of what my children are consuming on like TV and who their friends are. And it's just, yeah, it's just an incredible book. And one thing that I've really loved about it is that she gave some children's book recommendations within her book, which I've now gone and bought a load of them, which are like books that focus on people from different cultures and different backgrounds and not white main characters, which is obviously quite prevalent in kids' books. And yes, I really recommend it. If you have kids, I highly recommend it. It talks about teenagers as well, so it's not just about little kids. So yeah, I really recommend this book. I don't know what else to say apart from you need to listen / buy this book. I want to buy this book, I haven't bought it yet, but I am going to buy it so I can like help promote it more. But yeah, I don't know, there's not much I can say about it, the fact that it's incredible, and especially if you're white, you need to listen to it, you need to read it, you need to consume it in some way or another, because it's important you do so. There you go. And the third and final book I read super quickly because it gripped me. It's not that long either, which helps. It's 226 pages. It's Tender is the Flesh, which is, it's a dystopian book, and I didn't think of myself as like a dystopian person. I like Hunger Games, but I'm not really much fantasy-esque sort of, it's not my genre, it's not my vibe. But this book, it's one of the books that, whether I've said this somewhere else, but I can't think of where I said it. Since I've started reading more books this year, I have become acutely aware of how often I will think of books I've read, like the twists in them, the shocking parts of them. And this book, the end of this book really got to me. There was something about it where I was like, I feel like it's like struck a chord. I think about it on a regular basis at the end of this book, and I think that shows how good the book was, because literally the end of the book I was like that, what? No, you can't do that. So yeah, so this is, I can't. So basically the book is Everyone's Eating Human Meat, Would You? A vivid, shocking dystopian novel from an Argentinian rising star. The book will pull you in, take hold, and not let you go until you reach the final page, perhaps far longer than that. Without a doubt, my favourite read this year. So basically it's about a dystopian world where animals and animal meat have like got some sort of like deathly parasite in them, and so even like having pets is like illegal because like one bite or scratch from a dog will kill you, and so you don't eat any animal meat. So they've started breeding humans like they do with animals to eat humans. and they take you through the entire process. So the main character, he is a meat buyer, and so he works in his factory where they like sell meat, and special meat they call it. And so he goes to his like breeding farm, they go to the slaughterhouse, and they go to the somewhere else in the meat industry. I can't think of what it is, but yeah, they go to the butchers, I believe. Yeah, the butchers. And so yeah, so they keep like it's all these places he goes to and takes you along with him, and wow. It's good, this book. I mean, it's a bit gory, so if you're not into gore, this won't be the book for you, but ooh, this is it's a different type of book. And obviously as a vegan, it touches a little bit differently because that's what happens to the animals, but that's a different story for another day. But yeah, so I just honestly, this book, the end of it really has got me. I can't stop thinking about it, and it just sounds so silly when you say that, like a book has like grasped me and I can't let it go. Like I just literally I can't. I want more from this book. I don't know what else there is to give, but I want more from it. That's my 3 books I've read this month. Like I said, all of them are 5 stars. I have started a new book this month, and obviously I am 12 days in, so I should have really finished a book by now. But yeah, I'm currently reading a book which I haven't fully got immersed into yet. I feel like it could be a good one, but like I said, I haven't got myself fully there yet. I just need to start reading more. I was thinking about trying to find like some short stories or something so I can crank up my 50 books I've read this year quickly. If I read a couple of 50-page books, maybe that's a cheat code for this. But please do let me know any of your book recommendations down below, because I have millions of books to read in my house and I haven't read hardly any books the past couple of weeks, but that doesn't mean I don't want to buy any more books, because I love buying books. That's that. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can catch what I read this month when I do my review next month. Hopefully I've read 5 books. Imagine if I could read 5 books this month. We're 12 days in. Imagine if I could read 5 books between now and the end of June. See if I can do it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!